Hello everyone, welcome to episode 27 of Show Fever. Today we will be going over a phenomenal episode, which is episode 8 of Jujutsu Kaisen Season 3, Part 1. Now, this is the episode I was waiting for, because my GOAT Higurama finally got his episode, and it was phenomenal. It was so peak, the pacing was phenomenal, the backstory was phenomenal, everything was goated. I loved it so much. But yeah, you can tell by how excited I am that it was a phenomenal episode. Like, the best one since Maki sliming out the entire Zenin clan. But yeah, so I guess the episodes divisible by 4 in this season are just phenomenal. But yeah, so we start off. We get introduced to Higurama, who is on a. Well, actually, we get introduced to Oe first. Oe is a young man who works for like these assisted living stuff. He's very kind dude because like he does it for essentially free. He gets money every once in a while, like they say on New Year's, but he doesn't really have a consistent pay, and he's still being charged 50,000 yen per month for rent. So he's kind of a struggling guy. And unluckily for him, he was found near a crime scene of where a mother and a child were killed, and he ended up running from the police. The police ended up finding him coming in, and they found a bloodied knife in his apartment, and he was arrested because they had presumed that he had killed the wife, not the wife, but the woman and the daughter. And so with that, we end up seeing as eventually Higurama comes in, Higurama and his assistants, and they're just kind of discussing the case, talking about how it's a crazy case, and his assistants, like, you can't just keep on taking on these hopeless cases and all that. And, yeah, so we just see that, we see him, and we get to learn a little bit more about his case. We learn that the blood matched the daughter and the woman's, and that he had that struggling environment. So he was the individual who could have been responsible for the murders. Now, with that, we eventually end up seeing as Higurama is put in court, and we did get some like backstory with Higurama. Well, not really backstory, but we see as he talks with this other lawyer about why he takes on these hopeless cases and all that. And he said it is not really because he has some glorified sense of justice, but he just knows he has had a strong sense of what is wrong since he was a child, and this has led him to the path that he's on. But yeah, first we see him going to court, and the odds are obviously stacked against him because he is almost dead to rights to have killed a mother and a child. However, eventually Higurama is able to pull it out, and he's able to put suspect in the jury's mind about a person, I believe it was like with the MPO, who had access to the room and was able to get in and all that, and was near the area. But yeah, well, because Oe took the knife into himself because he saw it and was going to turn it into the police, so he grabbed it, picked it up, and put it in his room. But they are able to put suspect on another person, and he is found not guilty in this first court case. However, Higurama is not satisfied yet, and Oe gets his hopes up, but he's like, no, there's going to be an appeal case. And him and Oe and the assistant are talking after the case, and he's just like, thank you for believing in me. And that was phenomenal, just seeing Higurama glow up after that and all that. Like, honestly, it might sound stupid, but like, that scene in the manga and in the show is like, that drives me for wanting to be a lawyer. I mean, that's the reason I'm doing all this is public speaking. I want to be a lawyer. So yeah, that just is so heartwarming because, I mean, there are people out there who are falsely accused, and to be the one person that believes in them and fights for them and gets them off, and like in this case, that is so special. But yeah, we move along, and then we go to the appeal case, and they go in for the appellate court, and they lose. He gets a life sentence. It's so tragic because Oe looks back at Higurama with some glare, like Higurama could have done anything, but it was said that when it goes to the appeal court, it's almost always going to be not in favor because it was kind of set in stone before they even went in there. So yeah, Oe is sentenced to life. And so after that, we see as Higurama kind of breaks down in the court. He walks up with to where the judge is with the gavel, and he just starts slamming it, and then his cursed spirit, or his cursed technique awakens, which is the judge man essentially, and his domain is deadly sentencing. And so we see that he just slamming, and then we move back to Yuji and Megumi speaking with their respective individuals. I can't remember exactly the name of the woman who Megumi's with, but it's the woman with like the bubble braids, I believe that's what they're called. And they're talking, and they've told him that Higurama is in different locations. So Megumi ends up going with the woman that's leading him, and he ends up getting actually trapped with Reggie, and Reggie's the cool coupon dude we'll see here in a couple episodes. I'll go over his stuff probably in the next episode when he's more elaborated upon. But yeah, he ends up confronting Reggie and summoning the devil dog with him, so that would probably make it into a fight. Then Amai leads Yuji actually to Higurama, who's in this like stadium thing. He's sitting in a bath, fully clothed, water and everything, and with that, we see as Yuji tries to negotiate with him, but Higurama's like, no, I love the structure of the cooling game, so I'm not going to let you end them, because he believes that it is almost more powerful than the law, because he knows that these cooling game rules are like set in stone. So he's like, I don't want you to affect him, because I have a belief in the sanctity of the law, or of morality. And so he gets out of his bath after Yuji prepares his cursed energy, gets out of his bath, and summons the Judge Man for deadly sentencing. We get to see his domain day one. Now, we didn't get to see the full domain, but we'll probably get to see it next episode, and we get to see Bro's domain the first instance that he is actually in action. So that was peak. And yeah, there was just phenomenal artistry, phenomenal shots. Like, even this for this to have been like a more kind of slice of life episode, the art was phenomenal still. Mappa goes crazy. But yeah, that's all I really have to say about episode 8 of Jujutsu Kaisen Season 3 Part 1. So thank you very much for watching. That's all I have for Show for Review episode 27 as well. So yeah, thank you very much.